Alright, haven't done a video in a long time. You probably can tell because of all of this, which my wife wants me to get rid of. But we'll see. I'm doing this video in response to a lot of the stuff that I see on social media. Particularly this whole stuff about September 23rd, 2017. And I may even get into the 144,000. First, let me explain this whole September 23rd thing. Most people are pitching this because of the constellation Virgo, where the planet Jupiter is going to basically come down through its belly and basically give birth in a period of 9 months, and where the sun would actually be over the head of the constellation of Virgo and 12 stars. Okay. Similarity does not mean anything. African Americans have similarities to slavery. Doesn't make them Jews. Similarities mean nothing. It really doesn't. And people see what they want to see. But let me address some things regarding what the scriptures say, not what people want the scriptures to say. Scriptures are very clear. Number one, the woman is Israel. Okay, and they base everything out of the book of Revelation. The woman is Israel. She's the wife of God. Israel is the wife of God. The woman is not the church, nor is the child the church. Church has never had that position. That's a new age delusion. All right, so the woman is Israel. The sun, the moon, and the stars, that is Jacob, Rachel, and the 12 sons of Jacob. Because when you go back to Genesis and you read how Joseph had his dream, he had a dream that the sun and the moon and 11 stars bowed down before him. What did Jacob say? Jacob said, hey, what are you saying? Are you saying that me and your mother and your brothers were going to bow down before you? So the sun and the moon and the stars is Jacob, Rachel, and the 12 sons of Israel. It's real simple. That's what Revelation is talking about. But then the scriptures say that the woman gives birth to a male child. Jupiter is not a male child. It's a planet. And planets do not have sexes. They're not either male or female. They're planets. They're giant rocks. Also, the scriptures say that Satan was waiting to destroy the male child. Since when has Satan tried to destroy planets? Like, why? Why would he even care? The scriptures also say that basically the male child escapes his wrath and is caught up to God. That's talking about the ascension of Jesus. Jupiter is still in the same place it's been since mankind's history. It's not caught up to the throne of God. Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, is not sitting in God's throne next to him. The stuff that these people believe, it's amazing. The sort of, especially from the West. There is something seriously wrong with Americans. A lot of this stuff is coming from people in the West over and over and over. I've identified a common denominator. Westerners. All sorts of crazy beliefs on social media is coming from Westerners. So anyway, this is why they think that September 23rd is either the beginning of the tribulation or when the 144 are sealed or the end of the world. They have all sorts of variances in their belief concerning September 23rd, 2017, which is a little bit less than a month away. So again, as a recap, the woman is Israel. The sun, the moon, and the stars are Jacob, Rachel, and the 12 sons. That's proved in the book of Genesis when Joseph had his dream. Satan, the dragon, is Satan. The male child that the woman gives birth to, constellations don't actually give birth, but the male child that the woman gives birth to is the Messiah. Satan wants to kill the Messiah, hence the crucifixion of Jesus. But the male child escapes it and is caught up to God. That's the ascension of Christ going back to the Father. And then after that, Satan attempts to destroy the rest of her seed, meaning the rest of her children. Again, constellation systems don't have children. They don't give birth. They're stars. In fact, they probably don't even exist. It's just something that we just made up. We see this little thing in the sky. We call it a Virgo. We call it a Gemini. We call it whatever. They're just stars. That's all they really are, just planets and stars. But anyway, that's where they get this stuff, because it's all going to line up in the constellation system in September 23rd. What it really is just a gross misrepresentation, a gross distortion of the scripture. They've taken away the Messiah and they've added a planet, Jupiter. I mean, can you believe that? They've taken away Israel and they've added a constellation system, Virgo. They've taken away, I don't even know what they think Satan is. I mean, they're going to have to come up with some sort of identifying factor to who Satan is. Because Satan is trying to kill this male child. Why is Satan trying to destroy Jupiter? Nothing that they say makes any sense. So anyway, that's September 23rd in a nutshell. The whole 144,000, if you do a search on YouTube, for example, just 144,000, you're going to see a whole bunch of results. And you're going to see a whole bunch of crazy stuff. I'm going to go to that really quickly as well. Because the September 23rd thing and the 144,000, I'm seeing so much foolishness on social media. I was reluctant to do this video, but I said, you know what, let me do it. Because there needs to be a little bit of light in all this darkness. There really does. So the 144,000, when you see them in the book of Revelation, you are going to first see them on earth. Right? The scriptures say angels go and they make an announcement to other angels, hey, don't hurt the trees, don't hurt the oceans, don't do anything until we've sealed the 144,000. So basically they are sealed before tribulation starts. You got to pay attention to that. There are also 12,000 out of each tribe. So obviously they are Jews. They are descendants of Jacob. They're not Gentiles. And they're not Gentile converts into Judaism. Because you cannot be a descendant of Dan, for example, just because you convert. Right? So these are obviously Israelites. They're obviously descendants of Jacob. Now, we see that they're on earth before tribulation starts. But then they disappear. There is absolutely nothing in Scripture that says they're going around preaching or teaching the gospel. Nothing. That is a man-made delusion. It doesn't exist in Scriptures at all. They're mentioned on earth before God's wrath comes, and then they disappear. They're not mentioned again. In fact, there's no such thing as the gospel or Christians or church anywhere in Revelation during the tribulation period. It's not there. We see the Jews who were left behind, the unbelieving Jews, but we don't see the church. But when you keep on reading through Revelation, the 144,000 are going to be mentioned again. This time, they're going to be seen in heaven. So they're on earth before tribulation starts, but while tribulation is going on, they're in heaven. Some people will insert that they're part of the people who are martyred, the number under the altar. The Bible doesn't say that. That's what people insert. See, I believe because they were mentioned before tribulation starts, and then there's nothing about them during tribulation, and the second time that we see them, they're in heaven, I believe that they are raptured with the saints. And the reason I believe that, because I know the promises of God to Israel. This is just part of God fulfilling part of his promise to Israel. We read the description of the 144,000. We see exactly the sort of people they are. Number one, they're Jews. I already showed that the first time they're mentioned on earth, because they each come from a tribe. So there's no such thing as a lost tribe, because they're mentioned from a tribe. God has never lost anything. He knows who people are. You may not know. To you, it's a lost tribe, but God's lost nothing. There's 12,000 from each tribe. It says that they have never told a lie. You find me anyone on this planet that is above the age of 8 who has never told a lie. Like ever told a lie. You find me that person. It also says that they are virgins because they have not defiled themselves with women. Obviously, this cannot be women, because a woman who is a virgin that's undefiled with another woman, that's promoting lesbianism. Same thing if they were little girls. That will be promoting lesbianism, homosexuality. No, it says they are undefiled with women. These are males. Okay, it's the man that's made in God's image. The woman is made in the man's image, just as Paul taught. So, they've never told a lie. They are virgins, and they are male. And the scripture says that they are blameless of sin, basically. The only things on this planet that, when you combine all those factors into one, the only thing that can be a virgin, that has never told a lie, that's blameless, would have to be a baby or someone that was born mentally challenged. Why? Because they don't know sin. Their conscience hasn't developed to that point yet. They don't understand the difference between right and wrong. Jesus said, suffer the little children and forbid them not, because heaven is full of little babies. That's what he means when he says, for such is the kingdom of heaven. Every time a baby is aborted or dies in a natural disaster or sacrificed to a pagan deity or whatever, babies by default go straight to heaven, just like King David's child. When his baby boy died, David said, I'll go to him, but he won't come back to me. By default, babies are innocent. They don't know sin yet. They go to heaven. So the 144,000 are obviously Jew, male, baby, boys. It's obvious. They've never told a lie. They are virgins. They're undefiled with women. And don't you dare listen to people when they tell you that, undefiled with women is talking about religion. So every time we see women, we think that's religion. In prophetic statements, yes, females can represent religion, but this is obviously not talking about that. It's not. It's talking about literal descendants of Jacob. So, they're Jews, they're male, and they're babies. Possibly also some who are mentally retarded. They've never told a lie, like ever told a lie. I think everyone on this planet above the age of 8 has told a lie at some point in their life. Guaranteed. Anyone who says they don't tell lies, they're lying right there and then. They're virgins, and they're blameless, and they have tribal affinity. 4 things. Tribal affinity means they're Jews. Never told a lie. Blameless, they're blameless when it concerns sin. And they are virgins. That's obviously Jew, male, baby, boys. And for these people who say that they were sealed and they're part of the 144, some of these videos are pretty old, like go back to 2012. Got one more thing I want to say, I'm going to wrap this up. The fact is, scriptures in Revelation show us that the locusts that come out of the bottomless pit, the demons is what they are. They come upon the earth and they torture everyone. People don't even see this. They torture every single living person on this planet for 6 months. The scriptures tell us that everyone who does not have the seal of God in their foreheads. But we already know only 144,000 are sealed. So that's telling us that every living person on the planet is going to be tortured by demons for 6 months. It's so bad, mankind is going to long for death and try to kill themselves, but death will flee from them, meaning they won't be able to die. I don't know how to explain that. I don't need to explain it. I just know that the Bible is true. Men will want to die in those days and they won't be able to kill themselves. The entire planet will be tortured by these demons that are released from the bottomless pit. So, that's something post-tribulation people don't ever talk about. That's their business. So this whole video was just to explain what this, briefly explain what the September 23rd nonsense is all about. They believe it's a constellation, Virgo. They believe that the child that was born is Jupiter. The sun is going to be above that constellation system, and then there's 12 stars. So they assume that September 23rd, 2017 is either the beginning of tribulation or when people are sealed. Some people are saying this is when the sixth trumpet is happening, etc. It's all sorts of crazy stuff. It's because, as scriptures say, in the last days, men will turn to new winds and fables. There's a lot of godless religiosity all over social media. Jesus told you, beware the leaven of the Pharisees for a reason. So I'm reminding you to beware the leaven of the Pharisees, and definitely the delusions of YouTubers.